You won't believe what this drone found lurking in the river. From ancient religious sculptures to Viking-era bull remains, join us as we uncover 20 spine-chilling discoveries found in rivers. Number 20. 500-year-old skeleton with a good sense of fashion. There are still all kinds of expensive footwear available, but in this era you can easily afford genuine leather, even if you're not at the highest end of the financial spectrum. However, in ancient times, having leather footwear was something incredibly rare. That's why archaeologists were stumped when they discovered a medieval skeleton wearing thigh-high leather boots. Archaeologists believed the man met his end while working near the river. They think he might have taken a tumble and met his watery fate around the late 15th century. Poor guy. Archaeologists believe that back in the day, hanging around the banks of the River Thames was risky business. It was no place for the faint of heart. Our man could have been a fisherman, a mudlark, or a sailor braving the treacherous waters. It's all speculation, of course, but it makes sense that the man abruptly died while working. There's no way anyone would have carelessly worn precious footwear and thrown it into the river. After careful examination, archaeologists found out that the man had some severe wear and tear on his body. They found signs of extensive degenerative joint disease along his spine and left hip joint. It seems like he did some seriously heavy physical labor throughout his lifetime. He probably worked hard to afford his leather boots. Well, at least he wore them until he died. Number 19. Ancient bear skull. In 2019, two sisters had a boat ride like no other when they stumbled upon an ancient treasure during their mid-August escapade. The sisters noticed something peculiar, a massive skull peeking out of a sandbar. Curious, the two wasted no time in investigating. The skull they discovered measured a whopping 16 inches in length and 8.5 inches in width. With its size and those intimidating teeth, it was clear that they had stumbled upon the remains of a mighty carnivorous predator. What makes this discovery even more extraordinary is its rarity. Can you believe that only 3 grizzly bear skulls like this have ever been found in Kansas? The last one was unearthed back in the 1950s. Excited about their find, the sisters generously donated the unique grizzly skull to the renowned Sternberg Museum. It's a priceless addition to the museum's collection, showcasing the region's rich natural history. Imagine this bear skull emerged from the same river sediment that often reveals the remains of American bison, some of which date back to the Ice Age. Although grizzly bears are no longer found in Kansas today, they used to call the place home before facing local extinction in the mid-1800s. Who knows what other remains lie in the rivers of the region today? Number 18. Mr. Trash Wheel. It's a sad reality, but the world's oceans are drowning in plastic pollution. That's why Mr. Trash Wheel is here to save the day, or at least the waters of Chesapeake Bay in the Atlantic Ocean. The mastermind behind this ingenious invention is the brilliant John Kellett. Shocked by the alarming amount of garbage blowing into the harbor, especially after a rainy day, he thought, there's got to be a way to stop this trash. And so, the idea of Mr. Trash Wheel was born. Starting as a mere scratch on a napkin, Mr. Trash Wheel quickly evolved into a prototype and eventually a towering reality in 2014 when he was installed in the harbor. As the poles rotate, a massive conveyor belt carries all that unwanted rubbish right into its hungry mouth. If you like the idea of Mr. Trash Wheel, you'd be delighted to hear that others are on a mission to clean up Baltimore's rivers. Professor Trash Wheel, Captain Trash Wheel, and Gwynda the Goodwill of the West. So far, Mr. Trash Wheel has pulled almost 1 million pounds of trash out of the water, and as other garbage wheels are installed, that number will continue to rise. Number 17. 40,000-year-old wolf head. In 2018, a local guy named Pavlov Amov stumbled upon an impressive discovery while casually strolling along the Terektiak River in Yakutia, Far Eastern Federal District, Russia. He discovered a severed wolf's head from around a mind-boggling 40,000 years ago during the Ice Age. The wolf head is pristine, with its fearsome fangs, fur, soft tissue, and even the brain all intact. While other ancient wolf discoveries in Siberia have mostly been skull specimens or cute little wolf pups, this head belonged to a fully grown wolf that kicked the bucket between the ages of 2 and 4 years old. Today's average wolf head measures around 9 to 11 inches long, but this ancient beast's head measured a whopping 15.7 inches. That's one enormous wolf noggin right there. The excitement surrounding this incredible find led to a joint exhibition by Yakushin and Japanese scientists in Tokyo, Japan. Can you imagine just how crazy it would have been if these creatures were still alive today? We probably wouldn't be able to enjoy a peaceful hiking trip. After all, there's nothing you could do if you encountered this massive creature. Number 16. House in the middle of the river. At first glance, you might think that this house got carried away by a flood, but rest assured, this house is going nowhere. This is the famous house in the middle of the river Loire. French artist Jean-Luc Arcault created this house as part of a 2007 estuary art exhibition. The seemingly abandoned house is really a replica of a former in that was once located in the nearby town. To prevent the water from sweeping this strange artwork away, it was bolted down to the rocky bottom of the Loire River. Now, here's the thing. There's no way that this house can be accessed unless you have a boat. The creepy part is that some locals claim they've seen the lights on inside this house during the night. Spooky. I don't know about you, but I believe that if a place remains vacant for too long, even if it's in the middle of the river, someone or something will occupy it. Number 15. Human remains. Located in Clark County, Nevada, and Mojave County, Arizona, Lake Mead is a valuable reservoir formed by the Hoover Dam in the southwestern region of the United States. It spans 112 miles long and has a depth of 532 feet at its deepest point. However, since 1983, Lake Mead's water level has been at an all-time low due to drought and increased water usage in the surrounding areas. As its water dried up, its secrets began revealing themselves one by one. Throughout the year, body after body has been discovered in the receding waters of Lake Mead. Many of them died decades ago, but that doesn't make it less horrifying to find their bodies. Earlier this year, coroners in Las Vegas made yet another gruesome discovery: the body of a 39-year-old man who drowned nearly a half-century ago. What's more haunting is that some families traveling and doing recreational activities around Lake Mead were the ones to first encounter some of the bodies. Well, seeing bodies floating in the water would definitely be an unforgettable experience. Number 14. 40-million-year-old prehistoric fish. This is one of the rarest creatures in our world's rivers today. Looking at this fish, you're probably wondering what's so special about it. Believe it or not, this creature is considered a living fossil, and it's been around for over 66 million years. In the past, evidence of these creatures was nothing but fossilized remains from the late Cretaceous period. But in December 1938, experts discovered a live specimen in a river in South Africa. This fish, known as the coelacanth, had a distinctive joint in its head and had the extraordinary ability to widen its mouth to an astonishing extent. This means the creature could swallow its prey with ease. Now, this really makes you wonder what other creatures are lurking in our waters. Who knows, there might be another creature out there that could be considered a living fossil just waiting to be discovered. Number 13. Gold pieces in the Thames. For several years, many metal detector enthusiasts made an incredible discovery on the muddy banks of the River Thames. They found a magnificent treasure trove of beautifully crafted Tudor gold fragments. Experts believe that the gold pieces date back to the early 16th century. After carefully observing the gold jewelry, experts noticed the pieces were identically made, making it highly possible that the same person owned the jewelry. Initially, these metal pieces, like aglets, beads, and studs, were practical accessories used to fasten garments. But by the 16th century, they became status symbols, crafted in gold to make luxurious fabrics like velvet and furs even more extravagant. Can you imagine just how much more gold is hiding beneath the murky waters of rivers all around the world? Number 12. 2,000-year-old Roman ship. Archaeologists have made an astonishing find at the Barbier site on the banks of the Zadar River, a Roman ship from the 1st century. This remarkable discovery comes after 6 years of dedicated research and hard work. Despite being partially eaten away by shipworms, the vessel is remarkably well preserved, thanks to the sand that has acted as a natural preserver for over 2,000 years. Roman artifacts have also been discovered near the site, and researchers believe they'll come to know more about the final voyages of this ship as research continues. The significance of this Roman ship discovery extends beyond its impressive preservation. It offers a rare glimpse into the ancient maritime trade routes and the interconnectivity of the Roman Empire. The nearby artifacts provide additional context, including pottery, coins, and navigational instruments, enabling experts to piece together a more comprehensive narrative of the ship's journey and its role in the bustling commerce of the time. As researchers meticulously analyze these findings, they anticipate uncovering invaluable insights into the economic, cultural, and historical dynamics of the Roman era, further enriching our understanding of this fascinating period in history. Number 11. Narrowest river in the world. You might not believe me, But did you know this small body of water is the narrowest river in the world? Whenever people say the word river, this is probably the last thing that comes to mind. But here's the thing, size doesn't define what makes a river a river. In China, tucked away on the Inner Mongolia Plateau, lies the Wallai River, a true marvel of nature. This river might be narrow, but it still stretches a whopping 10.5 miles. This incredible watercourse is as thin as can be, with an average width of a mere 15 centimeters. At its smallest point, it's a jaw-dropping 4 centimeters wide. You might be wondering, how can such a thin stream be considered a river? Well, let's clear up the confusion. Rivers, streams, and creeks aren't defined by their size, but rather by their unique characteristics. Despite its slender appearance, the Wallai River is the real deal, flowing through the Gonger grassland for over 10,000 years. This remarkable waterway originates from an underground spring and gracefully merges into the Daliner Lake within the Hexagon Grasslands Nature Reserve. Interestingly, the Wallai River has a charming nickname, the Book Bridge River. Legend has it that a young boy once stumbled while crossing the river, accidentally dropping his book right over one of its narrow sections. In a surprising turn of events, the book became an impromptu bridge for determined ants seeking passage to the other side. From that day forward, the river earned its delightful moniker. Although it may lack width, don't be fooled by the Wallai River's appearance. Beneath its surface, it harbors a depth of up to 50 centimeters, providing a thriving habitat for various aquatic creatures. Number 10. Viking Age Bowl in Norway. Imagine the excitement of stumbling upon a rare ancient treasure as a kid. That's precisely what happened to 10-year-old Erik Briskeren during a boat trip with his dad in Glomma, Norway. As they sailed along, they noticed a sandbank in the middle of the river. It was then that Erik spotted something that resembled a root sticking out of the sand. Eager to investigate, he and his father cleared the sand to uncover the mysterious object. Little did they know that they had stumbled upon a priceless gem, a wooden bowl from the Viking Age, dating back a mind-boggling 800 to 1,000 years. The bowl was sent to local scientists for examination, who even sent a small sample to Florida for dating. When the results confirmed its ancient origins, everyone was thrilled. While other wooden bowls from the Viking Age have been found in Norway, they're often in fragments. Erik's discovery is exceptional, and he deserves praise for recognizing its significance. I can only imagine the sheer joy he must have felt at that moment. This discovery definitely became one of his core memories. Finding ancient artifacts like this can truly be a once-in-a-lifetime experience, especially for a young child like Erik. It might even fuel his love for history and archaeology. Now, just think, what other astonishing surprises are waiting to be unearthed? Number 9. Hunger Stones. We've seen voodoo dolls, but I think hunger stones take the cake for the creepiest thing discovered in the river. As temperatures rose last year, hunger stones emerged from the depths of the Elbe River near the Czech town of Dessen. These peculiar stones, known as hunger stones or Hungerstein in German, have an ominous story to tell. During severe droughts, when water levels recede to their lowest, these hidden treasures reveal themselves. Carved boulders or river plates adorned with inscriptions are a chilling reminder of the hardships and famines that plagued Europe in centuries past. The purpose behind hunger stones was to warn people of the impending droughts and famines, reminiscent of the years etched into the rocks. These dire messages allowed communities to prepare for the worst, ensuring they had ample supplies of food and fodder for their livestock. This year, over a dozen hunger stones have emerged from the Elbe River, a haunting confirmation of the record-setting drought that affected the European continent. One hunger stone, studied in 2013 by researchers exploring the most severe droughts in Czech history, bears witness to the devastating effects of these calamities. These messages carved into these stones vividly portray the struggles faced by people throughout the centuries. For instance, one of the recently revealed hunger stones in the Elbe River features a German inscription that translates to, "When you see me, cry," while another carved in Czech reads, "Don't cry, girl. Don't fret. When it's dry, just spray your field wet." Although the Elbe River boasts the highest concentration of hunger stones, these fascinating relics can also be found in rivers like the Rhine in Germany. Surprisingly, it wasn't until the mid-20th century that these ancient warning signs became known as hunger stones. The name itself was inspired by an inscription on one particular stone that read, Hungerjahr 1947, meaning the year of hunger 1947 in German, referencing the devastating famine that struck Germany during the winter of 1946 to 1947, following World War II. This might be surprising, but to this day, people continue the tradition of marking severe droughts by carving new hunger stones. So if you see any stones with ominous carvings, it's better to be safe and prepared, just in case what they hold comes true. Number 8. 700-year-old religious sculpture. During a fishing trip in northwestern Spain, a Spanish fisherman made an incredible discovery. At first glance, it appeared to be an ordinary river rock covered in moss, but little did he know it held a secret from the 14th century. Upon closer examination, experts realized that it was actually a statue of the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus, a religious relic from long ago. The fisherman's find caught the attention of the local Museum of Pilgrimage in Santiago, and they were amazed by what they saw. After careful investigation, experts confirmed that this seemingly unremarkable rock was actually a 700-year-old sculpture portraying the revered Virgin Mary and her divine child. Although the statuette's features had faded, experts were able to identify decorative elements on its base, such as a 4-petal flower and acanthus leaves. What makes this discovery even more fascinating is the unique Galician Gothic style of the statue's design. This suggests that it was once an important part of an unknown structure, possibly adorning the walls of a forgotten building. What's peculiar, however, is that the statue may have been defaced at some point in its history. Religious artifacts are commonly defaced and destroyed throughout history, but when this statue was abandoned, it was quite strange for that to have been done. It is believed to have been discarded during the 14th century, the time when Galician culture thrived in the region, a society in which Catholicism was the central religious force. This combination of prosperity and the statue's abandonment doesn't add up, making this statue quite an intriguing piece for archaeologists and the public. Number 7. 700-year-old shipwreck. Each shipwreck has its own story to tell, and one that was discovered 700 years ago definitely has a lot. Archaeologists have made an epic discovery at the bottom of Lake Mjosa, Norway's largest lake. They believe they found the remains of a ship that's been chilling there for a whopping 700 years. This lake has been a bustling trade route since Viking times and even served as a dumping ground for old ammunition between the 1940s and 1970s. Using sonar images, they've deduced that the ship, which is made of wood, stretches about 33 feet long and rests 1,350 feet beneath the lake's surface. That's a big clue indicating that this vessel was constructed after the late 1300s, when ships started having distinct fronts and backs. Before that, Viking ships were all symmetrical. This particular ship was most likely built using a fantastic Norse technique called clinker build, where the planks of the hull overlap to make it lighter. They also suspect it had a central rudder, unlike Viking ships that usually had the rudder on the right side. Who knows what other things this Viking wreck would reveal in the future. Number 6. Mysterious figurines. In 2020, a team of archaeologists working on excavations in Jordan stumbled upon a treasure trove of over 100 figurines. These little guys, made of flint, depict humans and date all the way back to 7500 BC. But what were these figurines used for? Well, according to experts, they were part of a unique cult that had some pretty exciting customs. It turns out these ancient objects were used during mortuary rituals. Here's where it gets strange. Among the original burials found at the site, many of the remains seem to have been dug up after an initial burial. It seems like a peculiar practice, right? After some decomposition, some bones were removed in a manner that still baffles us today. These bones were then carefully reburied, and nearby lay the figurines. Now, the placement of these figurines seemed random, but you can't help but wonder if there was a deeper reason behind their close proximity. Experts think that perhaps reburying the deceased with figurines allowed them to give their people a suitable memorial, and once their purpose was served, these figurines were discarded right where they were used, becoming an integral part of the archaeological puzzle. Number 5. Voodoo dolls discovered in the river. The cleanup workers of the Edinburgh River are no strangers to strange things thrown in the river, but during a cleanup in 2022, they were incredibly stumped and a little creeped out by what they found. A box filled with something straight out of a B-rated horror movie. Wrapped snugly in fabric and string, these 4 dolls had wooden poles piercing through them, creating the illusion of arms. But that's not all. They were discovered tucked away in a foreboding black and red box adorned with mysterious markings. Imagine the shock and astonishment of the workers as they uncovered these uncanny dolls while diligently cleaning the river and its surrounding streets. The dolls, draped in white sheets with what seemed like needles protruding from them, were trapped inside the depths of a large, enigmatic chest. Of course, the internet wasted no time diving into the bizarre theories surrounding these dolls. Internet sleuths quickly pointed out that the symbol atop the chest was none other than the sigil of Belial, a name associated with the devil in Hebrew text. I'm not sure how the cleanup workers disposed of the voodoo dolls, but I hope they had a trusty exorcist with them, just in case. Number 4. Woman of the Seine. Now, this might be an old discovery, but this is definitely among the most significant ones. The woman in the Seine, refers to an unidentified young woman whose body was found floating in the River Seine in Paris in the late 19th century. The discovery of her body sparked intrigue and fascination, particularly due to her serene expression. What made this case even more captivating was the decision to display a death mask of the woman. Her face was so hauntingly beautiful and peaceful that it captured the imagination of artists, writers, and romantics across Europe. The image of the woman in the Seine became an iconic representation of beauty and melancholy. Over time, the story of the woman in the Seine took on a mythical quality, inspiring numerous interpretations and legends. Her image became a symbol of romanticism and the enigmatic allure of death. While the true identity of the circumstances surrounding her death remain a mystery, the woman in the Seine continues to captivate and intrigue people to this day. In fact, this face might look familiar to you, especially if you've taken first aid or CPR classes before. After all, rescue models are made after her likeness. Number 3. 1,000-year-old African skeleton in England. In 2013, several teenagers stumbled upon a skeleton while hanging out by the River Conn in England. After careful analysis, experts found out that the skeleton belonged to an African woman that lived around 1,000 years ago. Its age is quite impressive, but the question that plagued experts is how an African skeleton ended up in England around 1,000 years ago. The area of Beaufort and its surroundings were filled with chaos and conflict. England was in the process of taking shape, but it faced constant threats from Danish-controlled Mercia and Viking raiders. In fact, the Vikings even took over England for a period from 1013 to 1042. So this African woman's presence in such a tumultuous time might reveal something we didn't know about our history. Number 2. 30,000-year-old Venus of Willendorf. This is the Venus of Willendorf, a remarkable piece of art from the Paleolithic era, also known as the Old Stone Age. This small stone sculpture, standing at just 11.1 centimeters tall, depicts a corpulent nude woman with exaggerated features, or at least that's what many believe. This strange statue was discovered in 1908 in an Austrian village. This statue allegedly originated around 29,000 to 22,000 years ago. Since its discovery, archaeologists have been trying to learn precisely what this statue represents, but unfortunately, they've never cracked the code. The true meaning and purpose of the Venus of Willendorf and similar figures remain shrouded in mystery. Without written records or ample material evidence, understanding the culture that created these enigmatic figures is a daunting task. Speculation and visual analysis offer glimpses into the past, with theories suggesting associations with fertility and pregnancy due to the emphasis on body parts that depict childbirth. Some researchers propose that these figures represented fertility goddesses or acted as personal talismans for women seeking assistance with their reproductive cycles. However, the absence of faces on many of these figures has led to alternative interpretations, suggesting that prehistoric societies might have valued women solely for their reproductive abilities. Now it's time for today's topic. The mysterious disappearance of Para Miranda Rosa has left the community in Florida and beyond deeply concerned, with many people looking for answers. The 31-year-old woman from Florida went missing in December 2021, just days before Christmas, which initiated a widespread search effort involving law enforcement, volunteers, and her family. A significant development occurred a year later when hikers provided drone video footage and photos to the authorities, showing her swimming in the WIA River within a state park. Her family confirmed her identity from the images, bringing some relief but also new worries, as it offered a timeline but no further clues to her current whereabouts. Her car was located at the park, but there has been no sign of her since. Even with the video evidence, theories have emerged that she may not want to be found. Some speculate that the chilling discovery made by the drone was never meant to be seen, and perhaps she wishes to remain missing. Her family fears a darker possibility, suspecting she may have been trafficked. What do you think about this case? Number 1. River of 5 colors. Have you ever heard about a river that has 5 stunning colors? Sure, there are bodies of water out there with 2 colors, but 5? Now, imagine a river so breathtakingly beautiful that it's been dubbed the river that ran away from paradise, and is hailed as the most stunning river in the world. Welcome to Cano Cristales, Colombia's natural wonder and a true biological marvel. For most of the year, this river maintains a modest appearance with clear waters, grayish rocks, and a serene ambience. But during a brief period, something magical happens. The river floor becomes adorned with a vibrant red hue, courtesy of the Macarinia clavidura, a plant that thrives along its banks. This red is complemented by an explosion of radiant colors, brilliant yellows, lush greens, refreshing blues, and a myriad of other hues from the rich color palette. This river is so vibrant that it earned the nickname the River of 5 Colors by the locals. Pretty, don't you think? Which of these discoveries surprised you the most? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.